Hello, Doris Amy. Salami, I keep coming up with all battle raps and they're just pouring out of me that Wu-Tang stuff.
No man's land, even worse for alien. Since I work with Magic, Trump treat me like a Mexican. But I use 22 Trumps that'll trump any Trump. Fuck any chump that challenged me to a battle on a spiritual plane. Put the blood on the script, rep the ritual game. Run the whole universe, they don't mention my name. They don't know my name, they don't know where I came from. I'm so arcane, don't do arcane. Bitch, I do magic, part of the sea. Dotted the I's, cross the T's. Caution, please, there's no function. Honor the ancestors I came up with. Talk to Buddha and he told me about Jesus. Told me about God making his image. Just look at the features.
Like, but really neat, very beautifully alliterated little battle raps. So next time you want to come to me and have a battle rap off, I'm going to kill you because I'm a samurai. And why you ask yourself, she's drunk, is she high, she's been out, what's she been doing? Yeah, I'm fucked up. I'm fucked up in the head.
Fucked up in the head, I was born this way, but I can't carry on this way, so I meditate. Shock the energy within me levitates. Kiss the Shiva and I realize I am everything. The microcosm of the macro. When the flower blossom, you forget about the seed, but I know thyself. They won't germinate me, but I know thyself. Yeah, came here to start a nation. Told her black is beautiful. She called me racist. She created her own reality. She said, fuck you, believe. It's all about salary. What about Mickey and Mallory? Love is what you make it. Tapping in the inner child in me. Burning that old energy like calories.
I keep coming out with all this stuff all the time. All these lyrics and I don't know why. But I realised it's for the next album.
Yeah. Peace, good people. Grand Rising. It's the Hood Mystic representing www.hoodmystic.com. And, you know, I'm a man of many hats. And one of my favorite hats is the Patreon. Really? Is the patreon.com/hoodmystic hat. Last night I stayed up to about 3 o'clock in the morning doing moon sign readings for the Patreon subscribers. So, you know, we're at 80 subscribers at this point, you know, to the Patreon family. So if you can imagine, that was a lot of reading that I was doing, a lot of like, you know, spilling of the soul. So anybody who placed the moon sign reading, anybody who's a Patreon subscriber, please check your comments, because I did reply to everybody was on there. It's one person that I didn't get to. She posted like when I went to sleep, I think Jay Levine, but I'm gonna hop back on there after this live and do you up. But yeah, just want to get that out the way, man. Patreon subscribers, go back to this site, read your moon sign reading, get back at me too. Like, did that help? Was it accurate? Was it on point, or did it not make no sense? You know what I'm saying? Just because I give anybody a reading, it's not the end all be all. We need to have some follow up. We need to understand what was being said. Different varieties of things that can happen when you're doing psychic readings. So you got to just be aware of how many ways that it can play out. So that was the business. We'll talk more business at the end of this build, but I just like to get a little bit out at the beginning and then finally get it all out at the end. But let's talk about why we're here, the astrology. Today is Thursday, which is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is actually conjunct Antares exactly. Antares is one of those malevolent, life-changing stars. It's a fixed star. And Jupiter being conjunct this energy creates a vibration. It creates a higher octave. It creates a religious. And when we say religious, we're not talking about like hallelujah, going to church. We mean whatever you're bound to, whatever sustains you. And this is the reality. Physical life is an attraction that a person can be attracted to. We could desperately want a beautiful woman. We could desperately want a beautiful man. We could desperately want a beautiful home. We could desperately want a beautiful car, etc., etc. The reality is that that is all illusionary. It is all something that fades away over time. If you bought a new car today, 30 years from now, it would not be a new car. If you marry a beautiful woman today, a beautiful man today, 30 years from now, albeit they still may be beautiful, they still may be classic. You understand what I'm saying? That same beauty that, you know, that's just a moment in time. So ultimately, when they say the Matrix, when they say it's all an illusion, this is specifically what they mean in a nutshell. So Jupiter conjunct Antares is like fully exposing that. But how we deal with the illusion, how we deal with the Matrix means all the difference. We could all hypothesize on particular stuff and, you know, say what we would do in particular situations. But when we're confronted with, you know, our worst nightmare or things like that, then you really figure out what you're made of. But today, Jupiter at the 7th degree, conjunct Antares, really in the sign of Ophiuchus / Scorpio / Sagittarius, like this area of time that they call like late December, early December, late November, is a vibration. You know, it is like, it's a mishmash of, you know, particular energies. Even in antiquity, December was like the last month, or December meant the finality, where you kind of took stock of your year and you began again. And even I guess we're doing that now, but really dealing with the cause of some shit. Like, how did you get into this situation? Let's take a step back. Let's realize some shit. Like, how did I get here? You know, we could go back to a time, maybe the beginning of October, when Venus was in pre-shadow retrograde. The ideal love entered into your mind and something to strive for. Or maybe you had an opportunity to engage in the ideal love. Even if you had a relationship, you know, a lot of weird stuff has been happening October, November, leading into December, where people making different choices and things of that nature. Old loves coming up, new loves coming up, representing old loves and things of that nature, where certain spiritual connections represent a level of initiation, and that initiation and that person represents something that you really wanted, something that you really, really needed, and you may have thought that it was going to be perfect. But the idea at this point is the realization that it's not going to be perfect. Today we can come into a space where it's not going to be perfect, but it feels great. I like it. I enjoy it. But I have to create some rules around this thing. I have to create some boundaries. I have to create some purpose. I have to have a reason for doing it. And if I can find that, then I can deal with the particular energy. So I imagine it's going to be a large percentage of people on the side of the fence where they're just living reckless, not thinking about tomorrow. And then there's other people who are creating, even though there is no rain, I'm gonna still create a gutter system for my home. Like, it's no rain, but if I know the world that I live in, it may rain. And if I don't have a proper gutter system to, you know, irrigate this rain, I do have the chance of creating like, what do they call that? When the roof sinks in, the roof collapse because the water just sits on the roof. So that's why people create gutters. What I'm saying is that you don't need to have a particular thing to happen to create a system, because, you know, you may not have no money today, right? You may be broke as hell, right? But that's not an indication of your future. Please believe that. Even the reality of you being broke as hell, you know, 6 months from now, you could be well off, paid like a motherfucker. You understand what I'm saying? If you create the system now, that when, like, creating a system now. You understand? Yeah, I grounded today too, and I feel like very much fortunate and grateful that I made that decision this morning before I did anything, was to go out to the mounds and ground. But what I would like to say before I'm moving forward is, you know, peace to everybody on the live. Peace to everybody who might see this video post live. You know, I really appreciate your viewership and your patronage. I really appreciate that shit, because y'all don't have to fuck with me. Like, it's plenty of people who wish they could have people pay attention to their videos and things of that nature. So the fact that you are does not go overlooked by me, you know. So, you know, my whole way of being is that of gratitude, you know, and gratitude is a way of life for me at this point, you know. In every situation, in every space that I'm in, I find myself to be completely grateful and in a space of gratefulness. And to me, that speaks to, well, let's backtrack a couple steps, because I had some things at the beginning of this video that maybe you see, maybe you didn't see. Let's take a look at this. But what I'm talking about now, astrologically, is the moon in Pisces in the first decan. But me saying that is some astrologies that may not make sense to the layman. So let me break it down. Let me show you what this means. The moon in Pisces in the first decan. Our reality is so vast and so infinite and so powerful that this is why we are inundated with egoic ideas, symbolism, money, lust, gluttony, greed, the seven deadly, anything that you can name, like you name it, anything to get you into your individual self. Hi, my name is Keisha Johnson. Hi, my name is Jermaine Jackson. Hi, my name is, you know, whatever. Like, whatever to get you into this ideal of living this one life. You got one life to live, or YOLO, you only live once. Like, these concepts, they want to inundate you with this concept, because they don't want you to understand that you have past lives. Okay? So, this picture is taken from Southeast Asia. It was actually an exhibit in 2014 about the Brahmanistic history of Southeast Asia. And it was at the Met Gala in I think it was New York or LA, one of those two places. But that's neither here nor there. It was 2014, but it literally showed you what a early Southeast Asian looked like. And it looked like it could be my mama or my girlfriend or my cousin or whatever the case may be. But that's just a picture. But then if you want to understand the religion or the idea behind a Brahmin, you have to understand that maybe this message isn't for you. But if this message is for you, please pay attention to what I'm about to say. Your reality is that of somebody that is the highest level of spiritual. If you find yourself in the lowest of lows in life, 10 times out of 10 is because you are the highest caliber of spiritual. And you just don't realize who you are. You don't fully realize your energy. And this is the deepest truth that I could ever express to another human being. But even me expressing it to you, even you comprehending it and being moved by it, you still have to live your life as such. You have to realize that you are a priest. You have to realize that everything that happens in your life, you created. So the bad things that you're experiencing are something that you're creating, and it might be just a simple tweak of understanding of who you are in truth, in totality, in wholeness, that you could overcome any mild character defect that you might be experiencing at this point. You might be a little bit overweight, underweight, tall, you know, left arm is a little longer than your right arm. You ain't got, you know, the cutest face, whatever the fuck, the longest hair, the waviest hair, or you might be a smoking hot dime piece. All of these things are irrelevant to what I'm actually fucking talking about. Has nothing to do with your spiritual truth. And as the moon in Pisces symbolically is just the understanding and the realization that either I'm gonna be on this same loop or I'm gonna figure out something else. And we want to be thankful that the moon is in Pisces, you know, and that we have some cognizance or consciousness in it, that we're able to grow out of this loop that we found ourselves in that created this unhappiness, and that we're able to make a whole different decision. What's the problem with the moon in Pisces? I'm gonna tell you what the problem is with the moon in Pisces. Niggas read a couple good books, find a couple good YouTube videos, you know, find some ideologies that work for them. Now all of a sudden the nigga is a guru, and now, you know, they gotta be at the top of the top, or, you know, feel a certain type of way when people don't respect they woke. What I'm trying to say is that you may think that you found your spiritual truth already, but nobody has. It's a constant evolution. It's a constant seeking, that even when you find it, you can still find some more. There's always more truth. There's always more truth to you. And you could either be on one side of the spectrum. Like, finding truth is great. Putting that truth into your ego and creating this crown of how dope you are spiritually and how much people need to respect your woke, but you ain't got no manifestations. You can't explain the shit. You sound real crazy when you trying to explain some shit. You ain't really happy. That's like, come on now. You ain't for real happy. You don't feel like you making the best decisions, but you want everybody at Thanksgiving to listen to you spew out, you know, conscious rhetoric. And they like Pastor Chitlins. This nigga crazy. Because it ain't about you changing the world. It's about you changing yourself. And that changing is always happening. I'm always trying to figure out me. Because I don't know me yet. And I'm okay with not knowing me yet. Because I'm okay with spending the rest of my life figuring myself out. I'm okay with that. Because I realize where I'm at versus where I'm trying to get to. And therefore, the moon, which is a transit, which is a space, which is a vibe, you're not going to stay in this space for too long. We're talking about a moon, right? a moon transit, this is really like examining the people that you around and why you around them, and do they align with your future, and then making proper decisions to get into a space where you can really, first of all, you've been dealing with this inner voice for the past who knows when. So hopefully today you come into full understanding of what this voice is and how this voice manifests itself, and then from how you should be able to move forward. Very simple shit. But you would make it complicated if you want things to stay the same. Allow this transition to move you. I realize that it's a lot of people on the live that's into astrology between the ages of 27 to 30, and they're really experiencing the full brunt of this astrological energy, because those people are going through a Saturn return. You know, whether it's ending for some or just beginning for some, or some people are, you know, smack dab in the middle. What a tumultuous time, as your whole world gets flipped upside down, and then you got to come to some sorts. But I'm 34 years old, so I can tell you that I've been through, you know, a Saturn return, and it gets greater later. It's not to destroy you. It's not to make you be, you know, not to make you go crazy. It's just, you know, context and shadow and, you know, perspective, and all of these things, they all equate to a great life. To be able to overcome some shit. And when you in the smack dab middle of a Saturn return, you better do your absolute best at every moment of every time. You shouldn't leave out the house looking crazy if you in a Saturn return. No way. You can't, you need to invest in yourself. Like, I know that seems egotistical, but, or self-centered, but a lot of times a Saturn return, it just equals you out to looking crazy and getting that energy back to you. Trust me, I know. It's all about maintaining yourself, feeling good about yourself. Like, y'all don't even understand how important that is to your overall well-being. Like, to not feel good about yourself, but to want something good to happen for you. It's so fucking contradicting and so oxymoronic that you really need to begin with self and then project moving forward. But coming into this phase where you turn into a boy to a man and a girl to a woman, you begin to start to look inward and realize that you ain't the fact that you the center of the universe, but you the center of your consciousness. Everything starts and ends with you, so start with feeling good about yourself. And this is really the moon trine Venus as we try to explain astrology, esoteric astrology, without the astrology, but use the astrology in a space that it can help you, which isn't easy to do, but this is something that we work at every day. This is something that we don't give up on. So yeah, I think we really discussed the astrology head on. We did 25 minutes of astrology, which, ooh. The card of the day is the 8 of Wands, and I just want to, I don't know if y'all can read that, but I just want to read something from my tarot book, where what this card encourages. This card encourages opening oneself up to new perceptions and taking immediate action. So therefore, the problem with this card, the problem with this energy, is I was trying to explain, but you know, we can always double down with the card of the day just by being specific by which area we choose the card. This card rules the first decan of Sagittarius, which Jupiter is at, which kind of gives me the whole theme for the day. It's real easy for me to explain, so please let me know if I'm doing a good job of explaining it, because for you to understand it really is key. So Jupiter represents the hippocampus in esoteric astrology. It represents short-term memory. When Jupiter is in aspect, or when we study it and we try to put it to where it is in a constellation, it's always representing something new. Where it is at in Sagittarius is conjunct an ancient star, dead center. So therefore, it represents a new perspective to our spiritual being. Now, this is probably a hard conversation for a person who's been in consciousness for 15 years, 20 years, to hear me say that you don't fucking know yourself, OG. You don't know yourself, priestess of the now, because you are constantly evolving, Mr. Babalao. So if you want to sit on a throne of some spiritual hierarchy, please take several seats as the new gods who are once the old gods, but we are now into our power and we are now into our understanding. Now what the fuck are you gonna do? There's really nothing that you can do. Because once the new gods realize that they're actually old gods, then the whole thing comes into order. When you start to realize that you can change this whole planet with your mind, you can change this whole planet with your thoughts, and it ain't nothing that anybody can do to you, because you contain so much power, so much energy that nobody can hold you. What do you think's gonna happen? Things are going to start happening fast for you. Things are going to happen in your favor. Things are going to start happening out the way you need to, for it to happen, because you are an ancient god. You hold the power of immense control. And there's nothing that the government, nothing that Donald Trump, nothing that your mama, nothing that nobody can do. You set the tone, you set the reality, and it sounds crazy and it might sound a little far-fetched, but you have to understand what I've been trying to say for the past 27 minutes. Maybe you can re-listen to it, because this is a clear stream of consciousness that I couldn't have created out of thin air. I couldn't have. I'm not that talented. I can only be observant and then re-articulate what I simply have observed. And this is the observation. This is a true awakening. What are you going to do about it? And so yesterday, if you was listening, I talked about how people have been having these creator source dreams and things of that nature. And I'm like, 5 to 6 people have already hit me with, I've had this dream where, the all in all has came to me and spoke to me. But now today, yesterday after I got off the live, I was chilling with my boys and decided to watch a movie, something that we all three of us can watch, because they be liking cartoony stuff and I don't really like cartoony stuff, but I was trying to find something that we could watch where we find common ground that is like anime. But then, some anime is like super extreme and, some anime is like super corny, but I was just scrolling, but then I seen a movie called Full Metal Alchemist. But this is like an anime, but it's like live action, like regular film, but it's like an anime though still. So, they was into it though. They liked it. But then it came to this scene where this dream about the same shit that I was talking about. So I kind of ripped this scene off of the TV and I'm about to show it to y'all. Kind of explaining the higher self and how the higher self comes through us and things of that nature. But for this scene, it's kind of abstract, so you got to kind of understand everything that I've been talking about and just take your time with it. Just let it play. It's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So, you know, here it go. Full Metal Alchemist. This is the dream scene. Hold up.
Who is it? I am what you call the world. The universe. God. The one. And all. And I am you. I'll show you. That which you have always wanted. I'll show you the truth.
Don't break me. Please don't. Please make it stop.
How do you like it?
So yeah, man, I kind of just wanted to show people that, kind of give y'all like kind of like the idea of what I thought about when people were sharing their dreams with me, and kind of like I've experienced it to some extent, but not like to the full lucid experience that people have been experiencing as of late. The dreams that I have been more or less to my personal experience and the things that I'm gonna have to do in the future. But the dream world right now is like completely online. If you don't have dreams and you want to have dreams and you don't know what to do about it, add me on Snapchat or something, message me, send me an email or whatever. I do know about like how to trigger your dreams back into regular rotation. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but you do have to invest a little bit of money in this concept. And so where we're at is a turning point of our lives. Like, you know, in relationships, the only thing that I can really offer a woman or offer my wife even is the space for her to be free to make her own decisions. At this space, like, I can only look within myself and try to really discover myself. And I would hope that everybody is doing that for themselves at this point, really looking within yourself. And maybe you heard me say this on other lives, you know. Hood Mystic always talking about looking within. Hood Mystic always talking about connecting with your higher self. He always be talking about meditating and shit. But if I didn't, like you know, motherfucking McDonald's spends $1 billion probably at this point on advertising. I'm sure a cool billion on advertising just so you can be inundated with fake ass hamburgers. You know, so my goal is to inundate you with, you know, spiritual truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm lying, then you know, call me on that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't here every day so people can be like, you know, Hood Mystic, you so great. You know what I'm saying? Like, I came through the fire with this shit. Like, tell me where I'm wrong at. You know, tell me where, challenge me. You understand? Like, that's what I'm here for. You know, if it ain't if it's just a whole bunch of, you know, hood mystic, everything you say is right and everything you say is great, then fuck all that. Like, we ain't gonna be friends for long, because I generally like a good challenge. I generally like to be, you know, put up on things that I'm doing wrong, because that's how I've actually gotten better. Like, I remember walking up in the bar looking crazy. Walking into the bar looking crazy, and my homie like, yo, bro, we about to go to the mall tomorrow. And then going to the mall, like, you know, like, what would you pick out? I go to, like, you know, Sears and to the Husky section. He like, bro, you know. And so, like, he helped me pick out an outfit. And then we went to the bar. So that was Friday. Then Saturday we go to the bar. Completely different response. Chicks was buying me drinks. One of my old things was like, you know, hitting me up on the text like, you know, what you doing tonight? You know, like, you know, all types of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you might be thinking that you killing shit or you doing a good job, but you also got to deal with people telling you the truth. So you can get better and get more or less into a desirable space. Your overall problem is that you know everything and you still unhappy. And so, you know, the more you learn, the better you are ultimately. And that's just coming from experience. So where we at? 37 minutes. I feel like I beat y'all ears up long enough. I'm gonna finish this video now and just want to say thank you. Also, just wanted to, before I leave, you know, make sure y'all check out the links, the merchandise links, the readings links is all in description. Very easy, very simple, very intuitive. But if there are any questions, hoodmystic@gmail.com. I got the whole thing set up to whereas like it's as simple as I can possibly make it. So if people try to make it hard to get a reading from me, then I kind of use that as kind of like a way to wean people out who really not serious about getting a reading or really serious. Because if you just take your time and read and do the process, they're like, you can use PayPal, you can use a credit card, you can use any modality. I don't feel like it's expensive. And if that is expensive to you, then you automatically know that a reading is not going to solve your problems. Like if, you know, for real, like if spending $40 is an issue, then like, don't even worry about a reading. Just make it to where that spending $40 ain't an issue in your life, that you can spend $40 freely without, you know, feeling like it's a crunch or it's a bind. Because I've been in a situation where I would never dream of spending $40 on nothing, you know, and because I was in a space where I was bringing home like $60 a week, you know, just something real crazy. So the idea of spending $40 on something is like preposterous. But you know, you elevate and you get yourself in a better situation. So that's why we do these daily lives anyways, because it's not really about money. But you know, I hope I made sense of what I was trying to say. But if I didn't, oh well. See you guys tomorrow, where we're gonna talk about more love, more love. More love indeed. That's what the planet needs, baby. Love is freedom. Peace.